harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zimet.
Hello and welcome to the Beverly Zimet Show, where being the best you just got easier. My guest today is calling in from Groveland, Florida. Too many people know where that little town is, but my brother lives there, so I knew that one. It's outside of Orlando. Brandee Thunberg, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited and honored to be here.
Well, we're going to have a fun time. So are you ready for a fun time?
I am.
So I see this little sign behind you that says sunshine. What does that mean to you? Because you're shining. I mean, you're just shining.
So that's my company name, Sunshine Transformations.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Ooh, give me goosebumps.
Yes. It's one of those things that I was like, what am I going to call this? And it just came to me and it just stuck ever since. And it's really like kind of sums up what I do. I create transformations that make people happy and sunshinier. So it works.
Well, I'll tell you, it better work now because everyone needs a little more sunshine in their life, you know, with everything that's going on in this crazy, crazy world that, they'll be so glad when it's all over, right?
No, I agree. And when it's over, I think we need to be prepared for what that's going to look like.
Yeah,
As
because
well.
yeah, it's definitely not going to look like what it was. So the new norm, you know, I hate that word. Let's don't even use
I
that.
know.
Let's not even use that. The new adventure coming up, right?
I like that better. Because I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. I don't know that I would want to see us go back to what we considered normal before.
You know, I would agree on a lot of instances myself, you know, because, you know, it's a good time to clean house, right? And
And
then, and bring,
see
yeah. Bring back the things that are going to really serve purpose and all that stuff that we thought was so important that really isn't, to just let be behind us, just be the past, and really start focusing on what this now is going to be. What is my new now? What is this new adventure, this new life? Because it's like being born all over again, right?
It is. It is. I agree. There's so many things that I feel like we all got away from. We were so busy trying to accomplish and get through and get to the next task and drop the kids
Right.
off at the next thing. And I feel like there was a lot of people just going through the motions and they really lost sight of some of the basic things that lit them up. And I hope that some of this downtime has allowed them to, to just kind of get back to who they are and do the things that light them up and get back to those, just some of those basic, just the basic things.
Right. Oh, I,
You know,
I agree so much with you on that because, you know, I think the family unit suffered, you know, and has suffered so much. I mean, we have children raising children because everybody's in a daycare, you know, and grandparents, you know, are raising they're raising their grandkids, you know, because of whatever happened to the parents. And sometimes the parents are completely out of the picture, but other times they're not because, you know, either it's a single family, you know, single mom, single dad, whichever the case is, you know, or it's because both parties have to work, right? And it's taken away because of the economy and the way it was and the money situation and Social Security being like not worth diddly, right? That the grandparents can't even step in to watch the children, even if they wanted to, because they've had to go out and add to their income because Social Security just didn't cut it anymore, right?
exactly, exactly. So it's been neat to hear about how much people are getting back to that family unit.
Right.
And I have a friend that was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how much I missed family dinner.
You know,
And it's,
something just that simple. It's almost gut wrenching when you say that, you know? That, wow, how many people. Hey, if you guys listening out there, okay? Did you start missing family dinners? Are you doing family dinners now? How do they change different from what they were? You know, what is that impact that you're feeling with your family? I know yesterday, my middle boy's birthday was yesterday. And so it was so neat to be here with both of my boys, and my sister came up with her family and husband, and just the grandkids were there, the great grandkids were there. We had an absolutely wonderful gathering, right? That felt so unique. I mean, we have them all the time, you know, but with this thing that's been going on, you know, not even changing that, but just the mindset, just the thought of it, you know. And because I travel a lot, you know, when I come through, you kind of start taking those things for granted when all of a sudden you don't have it. Because when something gets taken away from you, that's when you really miss it. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I should have appreciated it more because they're gone, you know? So it was just a special event all the way around, you know, and it really got me thinking, like what you just mentioned, you know, your friend saying how she missed those family dinners, you know, just that time together. And how many times do we see people, you know, out to dinner in restaurants, right? And everybody was down here doing this, right?
yep.
I know. It's like, wow. Yeah.
Yep. No conversation. Sometimes it's the iPad, so they got the really big, digital platform, portable
Right.
platform.
Here
with them.
you give that to the kid, right? Instead of teaching them how to interact. Because going out to dinner or whatever is supposed to be that family interaction, right? Or that friend interaction. And it just turned into everybody just doing this, right? And feeding their face. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I'm curious to see which things from this experience stay. And
Yeah.
kind of, and I'm curious to see what kind of goes by the wayside, because I think it is a great opportunity to let go of the things that aren't serving us.
Right.
Really focus on those things that are.
And make the world a better place, you know, not just being that better you, but being the better surrounding, you know, and how we live. And hopefully people found more of an inner peace than an inner agony, right?
Yes.
And are able to start to become more true to themselves and present themselves out there in their real identity, right? And be able to be an expression of that. I think you're going to see a lot more people being from working from home. I think a lot of that's going to stay, which I think is great, especially for single parents, like a single mom who has to take her kid somewhere. Well, if the kid gets sick, daycare doesn't want them. If you don't have a parent or someone that can watch them, now you got to take off time from work, which isn't good. And then you're always worried about, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. Oh my God, the boss wants me to work late. I got to pick up my kid. You know, all these little crazy things, you know. And I think on the other side, you look at the boss, the CEOs, you know, the head of the companies, you know, that had everybody come into the offices. And a lot of people you didn't even see. They all come in, punched the clock, went in their little cubicle. You never saw them until they happened to walk out the door if you just happened to be walking out at the same time, right? You know,
Exactly.
so being able to actually see how productive someone can be working from home, you know, and working around that environment, you know, and even be more productive because it's critical. Man, I got a 2-hour stretch here while the kids, you know, taking a nap or whatever, you know, or there's special TV shows on, and they know, and they're learning respect too, that this is mom or dad's work time, right? And when I'm in here, right, you don't knock on the door. When the door's open, then you can freely come in and out, right? And so it teaches them the business world and how to respect and everything else, right? That they don't
Exactly.
learn. Yeah.
And I think it's the first time in a while, a lot of businesses really looked at their structure and the kind of
Yes.
overhead that they have. And I think they're starting to see there's other ways they can do business that isn't going to have the kind of overhead that they've been
Yeah.
consuming for so long.
Oh my
So I,
gosh. When you look at those office buildings, it's like, I mean, especially if you're in a downtown area, you know, they're expensive. They're and over here in Denver, and I know in Chicago and different other areas where I've been, parking is a nightmare. And not only a nightmare, you gotta get a second part-time job to pay for your parking.
yes.
It's crazy. And Chicago has a train system that works really good. It's been in effect for a long time, but Denver never did until just a few years ago, and they're still adding different, trains that are going downtown and in different avenues. But for the most part here, it's still vehicle driving, right? And yeah,
Yeah,
so
same in Orlando.
yeah, yeah. So like you said, I think more industry is beginning to look at, options, and especially because it's been 2 months and 2 months plus, right? And because people scrambled, oh my gosh, we got to get this at home. My son is in the phone business, right? And a lot of it's the voice over IP, whatever. And he had a lot of clients. They had a really lucrative business. When this pandemic hit, oh my gosh, he was so inundated with just his own customers. Oh my gosh, I gotta have phones at home for everybody, and this and that and everything, can you hook this up, hook that up? Whoo, it got crazy. And then he got a lot of other businesses calling him because of his reputation, and they were just so inundated. It was nutso. He says, Mom, we're just going crazy here, and trying to find other people that can hook this equipment and stuff up. It's not, you just don't say, oh yeah, I just go over here and plug this phone in, and not quite, so it's a lot of changes. Their business just like skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And, now that businesses have that set up at home and it's been working, it's like, hey, you know what? Why upset the apple cart, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I know personally, I was about 50-50. About 50% of my clients were already online and 50% were in person. And it wasn't a big transition for me to just go all online.
Right.
It wasn't a big deal for me as a coach, but it was interesting to watch other people try to navigate that and teach them how to use Zoom and different platforms
Right.
and just, well, even getting my dad on so we could do a family like get together, I mean, he did great. I'm so proud of him, but that was, even new for him.
Right.
But, I think, some of these businesses were hit hard, but I think everyone's worked really hard to figure out how to meet these times. And I agree. I don't think this digital stuff is going anywhere. I think we're going to
No,
see.
it's just going to keep skyrocketing. Yeah.
It makes me curious about what's going to happen with our personal interactions.
People still need people, right?
Yes. And I hope you remember that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. What really shocked me was, when this whole thing started, and even now, you go in a place, right, and everybody's got their mask on, but not this girl. She ain't wearing one of those things. And you walk in a place, and you're going down an aisle, and you see somebody coming at you, which normally you just walk by, right? All of a sudden, you feel the panic, and they like, and they move away from, and it's like, no, this is not good. This is not good. The whole psyche is impacted from that. People weren't made to be separated like that. They just weren't, and again, the brainwashing that happens because for 6 weeks creates a new habit. And you have to look at what's been going on over the last 6 weeks, and 2 months now, where you've been told what to do, when to do, how to do it, why to do it, where to do it. This whole thing, was inundated. And so now when they are actually going outside. Oh, well, now if you're going outside, you gotta make sure you got a mask on. And seriously? Right? The air is gonna blow no matter what, right? It's gonna blow, right? And it's, you know, here you are in your car, right? It's like, really? You know, and
You're driving in your car and you see people with their masks on. I'm like, it's your car.
yeah. Well, there's actually people that are wearing masks in their own home. Which, oh my gosh, I mean, it has gotten so blown out of proportion. I mean, when the pendulum swings, it's going to go both directions, right?
Right, absolutely.
And hopefully we'll get back down into some, you know, sanity here. But it's
yeah, and a lot of it is people looking for comfort and safety and security, and that's one of the things that gives them that safety and the security.
Yeah, and you know, again, it was told, you know, it's like, well, if you don't, you know, people are going to die every day, no matter what, whether COVID is here or not. And there's been more serious things, you know, that we've had over years than what this is. It's in your DNA. It's already in your cell. There's so many false positive tests out there, but it's the mindset. And
you know what I think about? I think about, like, so we were raised a certain way, and like I'm a hugger. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, same here. I'm a very touchy person. Yeah.
Yeah. I think about these kids, like the young ones who are just learning how to act. You know, your 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds who are just, you know, kind of coming into their own little personality.
Right.
And learning when to give hugs and high fives and shake hands and all those things. And it's like, wow, how are they going to be affected with something like that? Because now it's don't touch them, don't go near them. And it's like, how is that going to be in the long term for that age group, that generation?
Yeah, it was interesting, you know, watching, you know, yesterday, you know, too, what was going on, because my youngest great-grandson, he'll be 3 in July 1st, right? And watching that interaction take place, and then there was a couple 7-year-olds there, and then we have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, you know, and just to watch that interaction. And it was beautiful to be able to pick them up and hug them and hold them, you know, and everything, and they're responsive to it. That's family. What happens when it's somebody new? It should still be that way, and that's kind of the scary part about it. It's like, wait a minute, you know, people need that touching.
Yeah. Well, and they say with all this separation, because that's not how we've been created, that we're going to see that increase in depression and the suicide rates and things like that. And it's just heartbreaking. And, you know, my background, I suffered with depression. So I get the cloud, I get the whole brain being stuck. So I feel for people that, you know, may start feeling this way. And I really hope that they have a good support system and that they, you know what they can do to kind of work themselves through it.
Right.
And that's actually how I came up with my program, because I reached out for help and unfortunately did not receive it. Little did I know that was my blessing in disguise, because that's where I'm at now, you know, but at the time, that's not it. So I hope that other people aren't going to be met with that same, the same thing that I was, no, you don't need help, you're fine. You smile, you laugh, and you said hi to everybody when you walked in, you're good. But that's not the way it works.
No, it's that inner you. I mean, my journey started back in 1974, and I had bouts with depression, you know, growing up and stuff too. And I think if people are really honest with themselves, everyone has depression of some sort, depending on what level. So, hey, any of you guys listening out there, have you ever felt depression? Have you ever felt stressed out? Right? Because stress is the number one thing what causes people to see doctors. It causes illnesses. Stress is behind everything because it triggers those stress hormones. And if you don't shut them off, it was good back in the day in the Neanderthal man when the lion was coming to get your butt, right?
It was great then.
But we still trigger those things. And so it's key with what you said there, Brandee, of that depression and really understanding and reaching out. Sometimes you don't always have someone reach back. And those that are, because you hide it, because you're embarrassed, or you don't want people pointing a finger at you, you want people to like you. You become who you think everybody wants you to be because you want to be this upbeat because you don't like being depressed, but something is triggering and you don't know what it is. So when you do reach out, and when people say the things that they do, it's not putting you down, but in essence, it is. It's like, wait a minute, can't you really see what's going on? No, because you're hiding it, Yeah, so, yeah, and back in the 70s, there wasn't anybody to talk to,
Nope.
and, there's not a lot of the self-help things. There's not a lot of different modalities. There wasn't any of that stuff. And,
That the younger generation's a little more open to talking about
they
it.
are.
College kids, it's a word that they'll use quite a bit.
Right.
But 20 plus years ago, when I was struggling, it was not.
It was still quiet, right?
Yes, and you were looked at more as broken, and words that you don't want to associate yourself with.
Right.
So to be brave enough to go ask for help was hard enough.
Right.
Like that was a huge step in itself. Like, okay, this isn't okay. I do need to reach out. And then to be told you're fine was like, but I know I'm not.
But something doesn't feel right in here. You're not listening to what I'm saying. You know how many times I said that word? You're not listening to me.
Yeah,
Right.
You don't hear me. You just don't hear me.
And I again, that's why we do what we do, right?
Exactly.
And we become greater listeners, right? That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? 2 ears and 1 mouth.
I love it.
Right? And when you can talk with like one of your clients or someone, and they say, she gets me.
Yeah.
She really gets me, and learning how to, and it's not about living in the past, but it's about understanding what that means and what that's all about. And again, putting out there that there is hope. There's more out there in the world to see and to do, right? And depression can be caused by so many different things, and it's not really necessarily the old database of information, that plays into it, but it can be just an imbalance in missing a certain mineral or a vitamin or a hormone or an enzyme or just something very small, right?
Well, it was interesting because when everything started, you try to go to the grocery store and there's like no food.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
With certain things, I could go to the produce area and it'd be like stocked, but then I'd go to the chip area and it was like, I don't know, Super Bowl weekend or something. Everything's gone.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how depression's going to increase, and I'm looking at the food that's missing, and I'm like, oh, well, if you're not getting nourishment in your body, your brain is going to you're going to start having that imbalance, and things are going to happen. And so it's funny because it is a mix of things, but it's interesting because I'm looking at this in the store, and I'm like, oh.
And it was all comfort food. All comfort food, right?
Yes,
Everything
absolutely.
that, if it wasn't sugar to start with, like candy and stuff like that, it was all the carbohydrates, so you say the chips and everything like that break down into sugars and stuff, and the nutritional value isn't there. And again, it's that comfort, and it is a scary thing. And because of the fear, that gets instilled, those stress hormones trigger, and they go in different areas of your body, and they trigger other things, right? And so it's in understanding the emotional impact that it has, and not everyone knows the science behind it. And we live in a world of technology, we live in a world of science, and it's getting more well known. But again, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know where to go if this is, and for most people, it's really new. And that's another reason why I like doing the show, is getting different practitioners on, different people who are working in the field, that have different modalities, different ways of shifting, and like you say, for transformation, because it is about transforming. It's about really understanding, and this opportunity to get to know that inner working of who really is it that you are, who is the you that you thought you were in the good old days, right? And we're only a couple months ago that are no longer. Who really was that person? And who really is this person? And who is it you're going to be tomorrow in this new adventure that's ahead of every single one of us? And it's done on a global platform, which is really mind-boggling. Never in my 70 years did I ever dream that anything like this would happen.
Yeah.
Ever. And like you said, the first time I walked into that grocery store, right? And it was probably 2 weeks into this whole thing. I was like shocked. I'm not kidding you. I stopped. I was with my friend. I stopped. Took my breath away. And I said, oh my God, Lynn, what the heck is this? This was so freaky. And you're sensitive to the energies, and you're
Yes.
walking, and like I say, row after row of stuff, the bread, the chips, TP, paper towels, all this stuff. And I mean, the weirdest things had disappeared. No milk, no eggs, or your staples, no water. I was like, oh my gosh. And the soap, we needed dish soap, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, there's no dish soap here. This is so weird. So again, it's that lack mentality, it's like the fear of not having enough, and we live in a country where there is no lack. Cows are going to keep giving milk. Chickens are going to keep laying eggs. Water's going to keep coming out of the ground, It's like, really, seriously, what is going on? Why this programming? And that's one thing I didn't understand. It's like, people come in, buy 2-3 gallons of milk, because they got a family. And now you say, well, you can only have one. It's like, one? That's one breakfast. I got 7 kids, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So to me, everything was just so out of balance and so out of whack. But again, it's that lack mentality that is just an automatic, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I know I was joking with my husband. I said, you had the depression where, everyone came out with this whole, like, that to me is what started, like, eat what's on your plate, be thankful for your food. I was like, are we going to be the group that, like, you open the closet and there's like a lifetime supply of toilet paper and paper towels, and like we're the group that's going to be afraid we're running out of paper products? Like, is that what we're going to be?
Yeah. Hey guys, you're listening out here. What do you think? Where's your mind going now? Where are your thoughts? We've come past, I think, that center pivot, point in this whole thing. It's like now some of the logic and the analyzing is coming out. Where do you guys see this going? Comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are. What page are you on? What would you like to see happening out there, right? Because, really in essence, when you're coming, it's like coming out of jail, right? Because when you're in prison, and sometimes we put ourselves in our own prison, right, with our feelings and stuff like that. But this was everybody just boom. I mean, it wasn't slow. It was like overnight, boom, everybody stay home. And it was like, what? It's like, oh, okay, what the hell's going on? So, but when you start looking at that, you've got to start asking, Why? So it's like that prison mentality thing, and the PTSDs, the depressions, because now you have been in this program, like we mentioned earlier, when to do it, what to do, how to do it, and why to do it, and how much, and all of that stuff, right? So when you get that little taste of freedom again where, okay, you can go, doors open, right? Boom, get back to normal, whatever normal is, right? There's still that gasping, I was like, oh, social distancing, gotta stay away from me, too close, right? And it's like, oh my goodness, So how long is it gonna take to overcome that? My brother works for the airlines down there. He works for United, and he's taken early retirement. He said that it'd probably be at least 5 years before we see anything coming back around. And so he decided he would just end his 35-year career in the airline industry. And
Wow.
I know a lot of friends who are pilots, and they're in that industry, and they said the same thing because planes have been parked.
Yeah.
You can't go overseas, and a lot of these guys flew overseas, and now they're not flying anywhere, and most people still aren't flying anywhere. And oh my gosh, to get a ticket just to go from one part of the U.S. to the other part is up in the $800 range now, right?
It
So
is.
you start looking at all of that, and that's only one industry,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's definitely going to be an interesting thing to watch. I guess there are a few states now that have been completely opened up. I've noticed here in the Colorado area that there's a lot more traffic out here now. Not as much as normal, but kind of reminds me of when I was back here in the 80s living that much traffic. But we are over 5 million people in Denver now, and it's just growing. I mean, there was like 40,000 people a month moving into the Denver metro area and everything. And so you can imagine what the traffic was at that point. It would take you an hour to drive from one end of town to the other. Now it took 3 hours, right? That was crazy. So being able to watch that traffic when I moved back into town a week ago, it was like, wow, this reminds me of the traffic back in the 80s. You could still hit 60 going down the freeway. It was great, And so there's still, right now, there's a lot of traffic out there. They have opened up some businesses, and more people are getting out. They're going to the mountains. They're doing their thing and whatever. So it's kind of good to see that again.
We've opened up quite a bit here. Disney and Universal have not. They're looking like June-ish time.
Okay.
So in a couple weeks, they'll start opening again. So to me, we're not really open till they open.
Right, yeah.
So
Yeah.
being here, I think that's going to say a lot for what things are going to start to look like for us, because we're so used to having so many people flying in here from all over the world.
Exactly. And that's going to be the next question, is there going to be a limit to how many people can go there, right? And how are you going to get there? Can you fly? You have to drive? What states are you driving through to get there? All these questions.
Things that you don't think about.
No. And now you have to, right? And we've had kids, I mean, almost a whole half semester of school that they missed. Was everybody going to start the same grade over again? Or are you going to start second semester in the fall and first semester in January and start, picking up the slack who knows, right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And it's going to come down to what kind of guidelines they put out for the schools as well. I know the ones that they have right now aren't financially realistic for school, for school environments and school districts. So, but we do have 2 months. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play itself out as well, because let's face it, schools are germ breeding grounds. Like, that's just,
well, it is school. Well, your schools and daycare centers, right? Hey, everybody starts school, right? And 2-3 weeks into school, everybody's got a cold because one person coming, and that
gonna
is
happen.
never going to change. But that's what builds your immune system, right? Get your immune system built up, keep it built up, right? And you're fine. Yeah, it's
Now we have all these kids who have not been in school. So what's happened to their immune systems?
right. Oh yeah, and it is all
Interesting.
about sanitation, this and that, and everything, But that kills your body's ability to fight germs. We had a saying back in the day. Okay, it's like the dirtiest kid on the block was the healthiest kid, right? Seriously, but you have to look at that. That's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, we were outside all the time on the farm, and we were in the cow yard, we were in the pigs, we were out in the field, you had cats, dogs, everything, right? That you were out there, and you'd go and you'd grab something, you'd eat it, you didn't go wash your hands before you grabbed a bun off the, rack of mom was making bread every day, you just didn't. You just didn't, and, getting some of that germs, some of that dirt in your body. You're dirt. You're made from, sand or whatever, right? You need these things to keep that immune system built and going, right? And I mean, I've watched kids, eat dirt. They're outside, they're playing, right? And they're actually eating dirt. Well, that's a sign that there's mineral deficiency.
Yes, it is.
Right? And a lot of people don't realize that, right? So if you keep your child free from every little touch of something, their immune system is going to be so weak and then really compromised. So it's okay to be dirty, right? It's okay. It really is okay, right? So, it'll be interesting to see what changes and how things shift with people, and right.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting experience. That's for sure.
Right. Tell us a little bit more about your book on transformation. Let's get into this transformation thing from another viewpoint because this is what the audience wants to hear. So kudos to Brandee and her book. And what's the name of your book, Brandee?
So my book is The Keys to a High Performance Lifestyle. It's your 5-week catalyst to an even healthier, more successful you. So the book is broken down into 5-week components with the intent of you looking through and handling 1 week at a time. And it starts with laying the foundation, and then it walks you through mindset, self-care, nourishment, and movement, which are really the 4 pillars to having a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. And it's kind of like an interactive journal.
There you go.
As well. Yeah.
That's a good thing because, knowledge without action is just that.
Exactly. So as I was coming up with this, because a lot of this really is the start of the program that I take my clients through. And of course, everyone has, 1 or 2 of the pillars that they might need more focus on, and get more in depth with, of course. So what this turns into is still customized to each person, but everything in here is enough to get somebody started to create that sustainable, healthy lifestyle for them. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm really big about, is building the healthy lifestyle that you want, not what, the cookie cutter, I need to do this, and this.
Right.
Well, that might work for your friend or your mom or your sister, but let's talk about you and what's really going to work for you. And let's build this for you.
That's your identity. Again, we go back to that, and because if you don't know who you are, how are you going to know what your purpose is? How are you going to know where you want to go? Bringing those dreams back and really internalizing yourself to find out who you are so that you can do exactly what you're saying. Could you say those pillars again? Because those are really kind of a key.
They are. So it's mindset, self-care, nourishment, and movement.
Okay. Can you explain a little bit about what each one of those is and how our audience can put that into use?
Sure. I'm going to go back just a minute to laying the foundation, which is week 1, and it connects to what you were just talking about. because that's where we're going to talk about goals and your why. And we're going to really talk about, those in detail and really get to what those are so that you have a clear understanding of where you're going and how to stay motivated to get there. Because it's really easy to lose sight of some of those things and get sidetracked.
Yeah, it sure
Yeah,
is. It
it
sure
really
is.
is.
Hey,
But
you
it's
guys
your
listening
mindset.
out there, tell us what your why is. Do you know your
Yeah,
why?
I love it.
Yeah, tell us what your why is because that's a key, right? Just like Brandee said, where's your why? Do you know who you
Yeah.
are? Let us know. We'd love to hear. We'd love to
I
hear.
actually had something beautiful happen. Someone who had read the book called me, got a hold of me, and said, so I went through the why component and realized that I've spent a chunk of my life doing something that isn't right. So
Wow.
this is what I've decided to do. And they've taken classes and they've done all kind of things to move their life in the right direction. And I was like, wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Like how it was great that they took the time to have that experience and dove into the content and really figured out what was working for them.
Right.
I mean, that's so beautiful. It was an honor to be a part of that journey. And I'm so glad they reached out and let me know. That was really cool.
You know, because
When,
if your book could just change one person's life, it made it worth
oh my
writing.
goodness. It's funny. I'm gonna be honest. Like it's not like my whole life. I'm like I am gonna be an author. Beverly, I'm writing a book. I'm gonna be an author one day. No, I'm an artist. That's my background. I also have architecture and design background. I love math. You ask me to write something, I'm like, can't I just tell you? Can we just talk? Like that's so much easier. So writing was never my thing, but I woke up one day and it was like, you need to write a book. And I was like, no, I don't have time for that. You've lost your mind. I'll just tell you. And that's everything just flowed. And it really is what I do and what I've learned over the years,
Right.
not just from me, but from my clients. So it was really neat. And so from the beginning, it was like, okay, there's got to be someone out there that needs to hear this. If this is what I'm meant to do.
Right.
Yeah. So to get the feedback that I've gotten from many people has been so, it's just so neat to be somebody that was able to implement something that could make a transformation and make a
Right.
difference in their lives. But when you travel to week 2, you're going to start on mindset. And when I did this, I did it backwards. I had movement down pat. I've been running since I was 14 and I like moving and hiking and biking and all that. Nourishment was, I had to work on that, and then the self-care, and I did mindset last. And I was like, I did this the other way around. This would have been a lot easier.
Yeah, that's so true. Because sometimes we have to do those other things to actually get to that point to say, "Oh, I should have done that first." But then if you had that to do first, it wouldn't have made sense. So yeah,
It wasn't my process. It wasn't part of my plan, and I wouldn't be
right,
without it. And what's really cool is that's where it allows me to save time and money for others, which is
right,
the two resources I use the most of getting to where where I am now. So it is a blessing in disguise, but I go to mindset because a lot of times when you can't create a sustainable, healthy lifestyle, it really starts with your mindset. I have a lot of people like, I don't like exercising. I don't like sweating. I don't like, and then I know I should eat better, but this makes me feel good and it's
right,
comfort. And then, so we get into the questions of, well, why is that? Why are you associating movement with something that's going to make you feel miserable? Because
right,
that's not the definition of movement. Why are you reaching for these comfort foods if you know they're not working for your body the way you want? So we'll dive into that and we'll talk about self-worth, positive thoughts, because a lot of times it's our inner critic that's got a hold of us and we don't even realize because he or she is so used to talking.
yeah. That's right. It's autopilot. You know, you just
Autopilot.
respond. Yeah,
And it's funny because I'm working with a client right now on the self-worth part. And um, what happened is at our last meeting a couple days ago, it was, oh my gosh, I really started paying attention with what I tell myself. Do you realize how many times a day I tell myself I'm stupid? And I was like, really? It's like I had no idea how many times a day one little thing doesn't work out, and I'm like, well, you're just stupid.
Right.
You're being stupid. And and I was like, wow, okay, let's talk about it. And we were able to replace that with something else, and I'm excited to get the check-in and see where we're at. But he didn't realize it. It was just a natural response he's had all the
Right.
way since high school.
Yeah, and it's those little things like that that we don't realize are just automatically, because what the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve. So when you keep programming that in, it's going to become that vibrational match. Oh, well, that's what you're asking for, and then that's what you're going to get, right? And that's science. That's the magnitude of it, right? You got the north south poles. It's there it is. It's right there. So your thought processing, as you call it, mindset, is huge, huge.
Yeah.
How many people out here listening right now have had that same aha moment? How many times have you told yourself, well, that was really stupid of me, right? Or something to that effect. It's like, oh my gosh, why do I keep doing these dumb things? Just listen to that chatter talk. Start becoming aware of the billions of thoughts that you have. What do you keep repeating and repeating and repeating? Because that's definitely going to give you an insight of where the change, the transformation, as Brandee says, needs to take place, right?
Absolutely. And don't get on yourself about it. Create that awareness and then create the plan to change it.
Right.
Don't spend time in I can't believe I've spent all these years. Nope. It's in the past. It's done.
That's right.
Create the new.
Stay in the now. Stay in the now, because that's where it gets changed, is in the now, not in the past. You can't change that back there. You can only change what's here. So if you don't want that back there to look like that out there, you better do something right here, right?
Exactly. And we really don't know what the future holds. So the only thing we really have control over is the present.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Exactly. Now, each section has like an assessment. So there'll be a mindset assessment to start with. So it gives you an idea of kind of where you're at with everything. And then you kind of know which areas need a little bit more work. And then at the end of each section, there's a review and a reflection. So it lets you think through where your growth is, where you still might be struggling and need a little bit more help. And then when you go to self-care, there's a lot about stress management for reasons like we talked about. I think it's 85% of the reasons people go to the doctor and the cause of diseases links right back to stress.
Right.
I mean, that's not okay.
No, it's not. It's not. And I don't think people really realize that stress, it becomes the norm, right? You're just used to doing it. It's your automatic response. Actions and reaction, action and reaction. And you keep triggering all that stress. But like you said, I think there was 73% of all discomfort, why people go to see a doctor, is stress related. And out of that 73%, 50% has already turned into some type of what we call disease, right?
Yep.
From
people don't realize
that
that
stress
creates inflammation.
Yes.
And inflammation is what creates most of our diseases. So
that's right. So if you got bad knees, got a bad back, got a sore neck, well, maybe you better start thinking, where's my stress level at? What hormones am I releasing here all the time? Because the cortisols and all that, it sticks in those joints.
It does.
Yeah.
And then under self-care is also sleep.
Yes.
Now, in our society, we wear lack of sleep like a badge. It's not odd for someone to be like, oh, I got like 2 hours of sleep, but let me tell you what I got done. I got this, and this off my list. I rocked it. Tired, but I rocked it. And it's like you're wearing that badge, like, I'm cool. I slept 2 hours and I'm still going. And it's like, you are so not cool. You did a lot of damage to your body, sweetheart.
Yeah.
And it's tired and it wants rest. And when we sleep, we don't, a lot of people don't know that's when your body is repairing itself and it's healing itself.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. And, give it the chance to do that. That's when you can show up better. So, and then there's like relationships in there, rejuvenating, things like that, that help you kind of get that care that you need. Unfortunately, in our society, self-care, when you say that, a lot of people automatically get this feeling of selfishness.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure you see that a lot too. It's like, I can't do that. I have a family to take care of. I don't have time to take care of me. And it's like,
Right.
but if you don't take care of you, who's going to take care of everybody else?
Yeah.
And when you take care of you, you're able to show up so much better for everybody else. And even if it's like 15 minutes of your day, like that's like this much of your day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You figure you got 24 hours and you can't take 15 minutes just for you. Whoa. And again, we get so busy being busy. And like you say, I don't think a lot of people really realize that because of that word. It's self, right? Whoever added the ish to it should be, you know what, kicked off the planet. And again, it's you can't give more out of yourself than what you've given to yourself. And I think a lot of people, when I've talked with clients and stuff too about that, it's like you can't tell me you love your kids more than you love yourself. If you only love yourself 70%, you can only love them 70%. Because it's no different than if I say, hey, give me $1,000, and you say, well, I only have 700. Yeah, but I want 1,000. But I only have 700. So you can't give more than what you have.
Exactly.
So you can't give 100% love if you only have 70%. So it is about being self.
It
and
really is.
fill your own cup so
Yes.
that you can share.
Your cup is half full. How are you supposed to fill somebody else's?
That's right. That's right.
Do it.
You can't give more than what you have. So make sure that you're full up on everything first, and then you will show up full for everyone else.
Exactly. And then once we get through self-care, we move on to nourishment. And I do go through just a basic understanding so people understand carbs, proteins, fats, and just a basic understanding of what that is. But when I deal with nourishment, like it's not like taking stuff out of the diet. Like you had said earlier, when you take something from somebody, they want it more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the minute I tell you, well, you can't have the cookies, it's like, oh, yes, I can.
That's right. Watch me. Watch
I'm
me.
not having one sleeve of Oreos. I'm having both. I'll show you. And it's just giving them an understanding of what nourishment is and the importance of nourishing your body. What are whole foods? I say whole foods and people are like, I don't live by one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh, I've heard that too. It's like, we don't have a Whole Foods here.
Exactly. Or like, what are empty calories? People don't read, they don't know how to read their labels. Like, how do you read a label?
Right.
What does it mean? What are additives? What are preservatives? What are empty calories? Like, just getting an understanding of what those things are. Most people generally know, the good versus bad as far as food, but they don't know a lot of like the not the sciencey part, but the fact that their food might be filled with all these additives and preservatives. They don't know what those words are.
Yeah, it's like rule of thumb, right? You shop the exterior of the grocery store and you don't go down the aisles because that's where all the toxins are, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just, giving that understanding and then making a plan that works for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because their body, everybody is bio-individual. So what works for you isn't going to work for me. And it's not going to work for, my neighbor next door.
Right.
And it's really working with someone so they start to listen to their body. What is your body will tell you what it likes, what it doesn't like, what it wants.
But you got to pay attention, right?
Right. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. We're not taught how to do that.
Right.
We're really not.
Unfortunately, no, we really aren't. It's like, hey, if you're hungry, you eat what's there. You go to bed hungry. You know, that's the story I got. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you want that, that's what you get. If you're not going to eat that, then yeah.
See you in the morning.
That's right. That's for sure. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then the last week goes through movement and just different types, like the 3 types of movement that your body actually wants and why and how to get those and what's realistic. And the big thing with movement is getting people to understand, like, it doesn't mean going to the gym and like
Right.
lifting weights forever. If you want to dance, go dance. Like, you're still moving your body. And we were meant to move.
Yes, we were. That's for sure. You know, and this whole COVID thing has kind of got us like bogged down. You know, where do you move? Oh, you move from the bedroom to the bathroom to the kitchen, and the kitchen to the living. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, right? You can only run up and down the stairs so many times, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I know I have someone reached out and they're like, wow, I finally found the exercise I like. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, yeah, I'm doing Zumba like 30 minutes a day. I had no idea I loved it. But
Right.
it's so much more fun. And they listed like 4 other things. And they're like, my husband's even amazed. I've been doing it for like 2 weeks now. I'm like, because you found what you love and what lights you up.
Right.
It
Right.
should be fun. Life should be fun. You know, it shouldn't be something that you dread or don't want to do or
Yeah, because you know, if you're not living, you're dying. And
Yeah.
I got a lot of living to do, so
I hear ya.
I'm gonna come down to Groveland and we're gonna go living.
Yes. Yes, that would be awesome. So that kind of gives you a good summary of my book. I do have, for anyone who purchases the book, there's information on joining like a private Facebook group so that there's accountability and support. But the book also, you know, gives you an idea of me, my style, my personality,
Right.
and then a way to connect afterwards, you know, if there's a need, you know, or a want for more support and one-on-one or group coaching. I do all of those.
So if someone wanted to get your book, where would they go to find it?
You can actually go to Amazon. It is on Amazon.
Okay.
And you just type in the keys to a high performance lifestyle, and I'll put the link below under the show.
Sure.
I can do that if anyone's interested. You know, then they can just click on it. It'll be a little bit easier. But I'm just really, I know what transformation it made for me to start focusing on what I was bringing in my body. A lot of my depression really was a chemical imbalance, and I wasn't eating bad. I mean, I was a runner. I, you know, was focused on putting things in my, but what it turns out what I was putting in my body, I was having an intolerance to. I didn't know. I didn't know what all that was.
Right.
But bringing in that self-care and the mindset and clearing the way cleared that fog for me. And I know it's different for everybody, but it alleviated the anxiety that came with it. And I didn't feel stuck anymore. And I look around and I feel like there's so many people that feel stuck, like they're just surviving.
Right.
They're thriving. And, you know, it's just my passion to get them to create that awareness and give them the opportunity to see life is so much more than where they feel like they're at right now.
Right. And it's so important. I mean, it's always been important, but now with everything that's going on in the world today, it really is important to know thyself, shall we say, right? And know what the importance is. Know what living is really all about, right? So go to the produce section of your grocery store because there's a lot of food there, right?
And it's so funny because I've had clients, they're like, you want me to add in Whole Foods? I don't eat any of those. Well, and it's even in the book. I have a list of foods by color. And I'm like, well, circle the ones that you like and put a star next to the ones you're willing to try. They're like, well, we can try that. And everyone has been surprised. They're like, wow, there's more on here than I thought.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, well, start with the ones that are circled. Get those back in your diet.
Yeah.
And it's like a big eye opener for them. They're like, well, I like corn, that's it. And then they fill out the list and they're like, oh, well, I remember I used to like that. And I used
Right.
to.
Yeah,
So
it definitely is right.
go
And
to the produce section and enjoy, make it fun.
yeah, because the greener the food you eat, the healthier the body, because the greens have so many more minerals and stuff that your body needs. And it's okay to eat a salad. It really is.
Yes, I love it. And I garden as well. So I just go right outside and pick mine. I just,
Yes. Oh, I miss my garden. I do. And because it's just, there's nothing like fresh right out of the garden. There just isn't.
I agree. I harvested some celery
Oh,
yesterday, and
nice.
it is such a brilliant green, and it smells so fresh. And it's funny, my husband does not like celery. If you buy celery from the store, he's like, this is nasty. So I asked him a few months ago, I was like, hey, just try this. It tastes different. He will
Right.
eat all that celery on me, but don't bring him anything from the store. Go figure.
And I think this is something that people don't realize, when you're growing commercial things, and what you
Yeah,
have a thought of what it's supposed to look like and taste like, it's been messed with, shall we say, and shifted and everything else. But when you get a real plant and good seeds, and grow them in your own backyard or front yard or however hydroponically, the taste is so different
Yeah.
because it's not done in this big bulk type of thing. Your lettuce is different, the carrots are different, potatoes are different. Everything just tastes so different, and it's getting back into that. And I would love to see more people get back into the gardening thing of it. And yeah,
And
that would be awesome.
I have I call the High Performance Lifestyle Quick Start Guide, and I'll put the link below. And it has 4 simple things that you could do today just to get started on your own healthy lifestyle. So if you're okay with that, Beverly, I'd like to put that down there.
That'd
It's
be
free.
great. Go ahead, put it in there. Right.
Just so everyone could get, just kind of get a jump start. I know it'll resonate with whoever it's supposed to resonate with. And there's
Like
somebody,
anything, that's right.
yeah, absolutely, that might need it. And, it's about like gratitude. The simple act of taking a moment to be thankful for something really changes your mind. It changes the way that you feel, and taking a moment to breathe. When we get worked up, we don't breathe.
Yeah, and then when you have a mask on, you don't breathe very good either.
Not at all.
You started that.
Not at all.
But breathing is a key, because that gets that oxygen in and the carbon dioxide out. So anything that prevents you from breathing that in and out is going to be damaging, right? So again, it's what you do, but recognize when you do get all excited how you do hold your breath, right? And that's that stress hormone and everything that's kicking out here and not causing good things. And yeah,
And breathing is the number one way to turn on the parasympathetic nervous system.
exactly.
The number one way to get that fight or flight to stop.
Just
And
calm
you
down.
don't have
Yeah.
to buy anything. It's not a piece of equipment you have to carry
No.
around. Like, it's with you.
And you automatically do it. You just have to think about doing it sometimes, right? Yeah, that's why meditation and just calming yourself changes. You just get out in nature. If you walk in nature, nature is that ultimate harmony and peace that just you can be as upset and crazy and off the charts, whatever. You go for a walk in nature, and within 5 minutes of walking in nature, everything just shifts
Yes.
because of where the balance is.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Brandee, we could just keep on talking
I
here
know, we
forever. This has been awesome. So listen up out there. If you guys want to get Brandee's book, she's going to put the link in below here. She's got a freebie for you, and we'll get that off to you as well. Just click the links. And if you want to reach out to either one of us And who knows, we might be collaborating things, because you know what? Great minds think alike and work alike. We are here to help you help yourself and become that best you that you can be. So go out there, be the best you that you can be, because Brandee and I are going to be the best we that we can be for whatever's left in this day, and there's a lot of hours left. Brandee, thank you so much for being on this show. It's been a real treat, and we definitely have to get you back.
Oh, thank you, Beverly. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. And definitely, I would love to keep collaborating and connecting. This was an honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see you guys all on the next show.
Hi, everyone.